Why I decided to reach out to you to see if you were interested in being one of my first guests was about a couple of years ago, you wrote a post on Facebook and it read, from GED to Bachelors, from Bachelors to Masters, and you wrote something else. I can't remember what it was word for word, but I do know that it was inspiring, and I thought that it was worthy to sit down and have a conversation about it so you can inspire some other people. So you are a GED recipient, correct?
Yes.
So tell us about that journey.
I'm a GED recipient. I went to high school. I went to Beach High and I went to Jenkins. I became pregnant my 12th grade year, senior year. And that was at the same time, that was the time when I dropped out of school.
Okay. So you were a senior when you dropped out.
Yes.
So tell me about that. What happens to the point where you're 12th grade, you're right at the door, and you decide, although I'm this close, I no longer want to go to school or no longer able to go to school?
It wasn't that I didn't want to. I was really unable to. I pushed through, but as the pregnancy began to grow, I started getting sicker and sicker and sicker. So, like I just was getting sick and sick, to the point where I couldn't get out of bed.
Okay.
I couldn't focus. I just couldn't focus in school. So eventually, I just ended up dropping out.
Okay. So what happened after the child was born? It was your son, correct?
Yes, my oldest son. After he was born, I was working at Burger King. I worked there as a cashier, and then I was like an assistant manager, and
okay.
I've been there for a few years.
Okay. So while working at Burger King, what was your thought process? Was it just like I'm in survival mode to just kind of have some income, or school was not on your list of things to do?
At that point, school still was not on my list. I was still in survival mode. I just needed to make some money to take care of me and my new baby. So that's what it was. As time progressed, I want to say maybe when he turned around 2 or 3, as time progressed and just trying to find other jobs, I just started noticing how hard it was, how difficult it was, just how it was just not being able to make the money that you needed to make to survive. So my next best thing was to go back to school.
So was it a person in your life? Was it a situation? Was it a scenario? Did something happen that made you say, okay, now I'm going to register for school?
My sister, you mean my GED? Or
yes, your GED, yes.
Oh, so basically, after I had Trayvon, I always wanted my GED. I really was just scared at this point in my life.
You were scared of what?
Just to go back to school and go back and get it. It was more of survival. Like I didn't have time. I had to work. I had to take care of my son. It was just a lot of other things playing in place that was holding me back.
Okay.
But I had to. You can make time if you want to for certain things. So I had to look and just say, Tony, what do you want to do? Do you want to go and get your GED? Like, is this something that you need to do, or do you want to continue to just work here and not be able to go to college? So those were my main concerns. So eventually, like I said, I also have a sister, and my sister just always said, you know, are you going to go back to school? Are you going to go back to school? And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to go back to school. Yeah, I'm going to go back to school. And I just had to find my timing to go back to school.
So you said that your sister was in education. She was an educator.
Yes, she's an educator. She's been a teacher for about 20 years.
Okay, so she was kind of like, I don't want to say harassing you, but kind of pulling your coattail, just constantly saying, hey, you need to go back to school.
Are you going to go back to school? You know you're not going to be able to find a job if you don't go back to school. You go continue just to work at Burger King. You know, it was just those things. And at that time, I was young. I was dumb. You know, I wanted to do my own thing.
Okay.
And then I had my own other personal reasons in my life that was leading up to the decisions that I was making, you know. So at that point, it just wasn't it wasn't important to me. But then when you have a child and you have a child that you have to lead by example, that's when it's not about you anymore.
Okay.
So I was like, you know what? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and go. So I ended up going to, you know, they had different GED centers, and I took a pre-test or something, and it was like I was ready to take the test if I wanted to, or I could just do a quick catch up on studying for about 4 weeks, and then I could take the test. So I did that. I did great, and I ended up going ahead and registering for the test like a month later. And during this time, I think I was working at City Market downtown. So I had one friend that used to always help me with my math. And I used to go to work, and I used to be on the line actually studying my GED book while I was on the line for like days at a time.
Okay. So you passed the test. You graduated with your GED because you had an actual ceremony, right? Yes, I had a graduation ceremony. I invited all my family and friends. And it was a big celebration. I cried. I was overjoyed. I mean, it was a great experience. So you actually walked across the stage? Yes. Okay. How did that make you feel once you completed that goal? I felt accomplished. You felt accomplished? I felt like I could do anything. So, yes. Okay. All right. So you got your GED. What next? What career goal or what direction did your life take after you completed your GED? So what happened next? Once I completed my GED, I kind of basically is like just going back to your normal everyday routine, your life. So the GED itself did not propel you to the place that you thought you would be afterwards. Like you didn't automatically get the income or the money or the dream job just because you got your GED. The GED taught me that I can do anything I put my mind to. I can, if I want to do something, I can do it. If I focus, if I'm driven, if I just do whatever I put my mind to. That's what it taught me. Okay. Once I got it, I was still working. I think I was at City Market. I was still working at City Market, which is I was a line cook and a prep cook. So I was working there. And eventually, I think I just needed more income. You just needed more income? Yeah. So I was living in Westlake, Fred Westlake or Westlake at the time. And I wanted to move. So I couldn't move working at City Market. Okay. I couldn't move. I couldn't afford the places that I wanted to afford. And I couldn't find another job because I had kids. At this time, I had 2 kids. So I couldn't find another job because I didn't have nobody to watch my kids. Okay. So it was kind of like, okay, Tollany, so what do you want to do? Like, these jobs want you to work at night. They want you to work weekends. I don't have a babysitter. I need to be able to work when I drop my kids off to school and daycare, and when I be off by the time it's time for me to pick them up. So I sat down and told myself, Tollany, what can you do? Like, what can you do to make the money that you need? And eventually, I came up with the cleaning service. Okay, so that's when entrepreneurship was born. Like I said, I had to figure out what I needed to do in order to make more money so that, I can move and just pay for the things that I needed to pay for. So eventually I already knew certain people around Savannah that had, they were either in the real estate industry,
on some type of realty and stuff like that. So I was like, okay, I'm going to clean some properties. I went and talked to a few people that I knew, and when I tell you it was the easiest thing I ever did, I was like, hey, I just opened up a cleaning service, and if you need anything, just let me know. And it was like, okay, and they was sending me stuff like that. But at this time, I wasn't a business.
You wasn't a business. It was just survival.
Me surviving, doing a little side hustle, getting by. But I did that for a long time, just me by myself for about 3 or 4 years. And then eventually while I was doing that, that's what made me want to go back to school.
Okay.
In business administration. So I went back to school. I got my associates, went back again, got my bachelor's in business management, and went back again and got my master's in business management with a concentration in human resource.
So each time you went back to school, did it do something to your self-esteem? Did it make you feel stronger? Did it make you feel like you could just take over the world?
Yes, it made me feel stronger. It made me feel confident. It made me feel that the sky was the limit, that I could do anything I put my mind to. It made me feel knowledgeable in a lot of areas within the cleaning industry. I believe it was the best thing that I could have done.
Okay.
Yeah, just not for me, but for my business. Because even though I started the business, I didn't know anything. I was just in the business for survival.
Okay.
But once I went to school, that's when I gained more insight to get my business to where I am today.
Okay. Tell me about, I guess, the struggle of balancing a business and having children and being a single parent. Because I think a lot of times people don't really understand how you can't plan when your child is going to get sick. You can't plan. Sometimes you can plan, they plan school field trips and stuff, but emergencies happen, and then you have to kind of ask yourself, oh, I really need to go to this field trip with my son, but I really got to take care of school or business I really need to take care of my business to keep my business flowing, to keep my income coming. So just kind of tell me about some dilemmas or some conflicts you had in that area.
God is so good. My whole reason for opening my business was specifically around my children. Everybody has different reasons. The reason why I opened my business was to be able to be there for my children. It wasn't because I wanted to be an entrepreneur.
Uh-huh.
It wasn't because I wanted to say I owned a business.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just the real deal of it.
Mm-hmm.
I needed to be able to be there for my children. I needed to be able to pick them up, to drop them off, to cook. I needed to be able, if one of my kids was sick, to go to the school. I needed to be able to be available for school events.
Mm-hmm.
I needed to be able to help them with homework. Everything was structured around the kids, and when you pray for something, God will give it to you. You may not understand the process, because it was not an easy process.
Okay.
But God will give it to you, and it's up to you to utilize what He's given to you, as needed. So with my kids, I have a son who has asthma.
Okay.
Chronic asthma.
Okay.
Literally, he's getting better now because we're doing treatments, but he used to have to be picked up at least 3 times out the week from school.
Okay.
From having an asthma attack, or they'll call an ambulance. And because of the situation I'm in is being a business owner, and just not a business owner, my business has grown through the years.
Okay. So
I'm able to not be in the field as much. I'm able to network more. I'm able to plan my day out, as in marketing and the other things that I have to do, so I can move around how I please.
Okay.
So I was able, hey, Levon is sick, I'm on my way.
Okay.
And to be honest, I wouldn't have it any other way. My kids come first, and my business is wrapped around my children, and I'm so thankful that God made it that way for me.
Tell me about a point or a time in your life where you felt hopeless, because as you know, the purpose of this interview is to talk about Unchaining Your Dragon. And what Unchained Your Dragon symbolizes, that we are these powerful beings. That's what the dragon symbolizes. But we don't know that we're these powerful beings because we're wrapped up in chains. So you have to unchain your dragon to be the best version of you. So I want you to tell me about a time that you just felt hopeless. Like, I know who you are today, but just go back in time and kind of tell me about a time when you couldn't see that you will become the person that you are today, that you felt kind of hopeless.
So, my family's from Savannah. I'm from Florida. I'm from West Palm Beach.
Okay.
Fort Lauderdale area and all of that. So we moved here. My mama is from here. And I was a little different.
Okay.
I was fast. I was like way ahead when I came here. I was used to being into a lot of different things, a little wild and stuff like that. So my whole thinking process was different. I stayed in trouble in school, so that was another. I was smart. I just stayed in trouble. But like I said, I also had other issues at home.
Okay.
That dealt with a lot of that. So, just me, only having me to find my way was very difficult for me.
So you felt alone.
Exactly.
Okay.
So I had my children, and a lot of people don't know, I lived in Fred Wessel, left Fred Wessel, lived in Westlake, left Westlake. I want to be correct. Or maybe it was before Westlake. I lived in a shelter.
You lived in a shelter with your children or by yourself?
With my two children.
Okay, what was that experience
the
like?
EOA shelter downtown.
Oh, Austin House. They have the apartments, I thought.
They are many apartments, though. I love the Austin House for anybody who is trying to get on their feet or know somebody that is trying to get on their feet. The Austin House, it would be very, very, very great and beneficial for anyone. They give you you had to come and go at certain times. So, it's, they still had their rules and regulations.
It still was regulated.
Yeah.
You didn't have the freedom to do what you want to do or have company like you wanted to.
They push you to find a job. So, it's just... It was a better format for women with kids.
Okay, all right.
If you wanted to be somewhere that was a good place for your children, then that's somewhere where you had to go. But I lived in the shelter. I probably lived there for about maybe 6 months. I didn't stay there long because I was pushing. But I lived there for about 6 months. I got in. I did what I had to do. And then I moved. But, going through those things, like just thinking, hey, I would never get out the projects. Like, sometimes you could get somewhere and you could get stuck.
Okay. So you would say that...
Yeah, you can get stuck. Oh, no, okay. It was fine for the moment when I needed it, but at a certain point, it's like, okay, now I need something else. And change sometimes is scary. Mm-hmm. So you going from paying a minimum amount of rent, you're also going to that if you're not working to no rent, you're secure. Okay, if I lose my job today or tomorrow, I still got a place to stay. But now you're going to whereas if you lose your job today or tomorrow, you still got rent to pay. How are you going to secure yourself? What are you going to do to make sure that you can pay your rent? Because you're not in Westlake or the projects no more. Like, this is going to be due no matter what happens in your life. Your bills are still going to be due and there's no help.
So in that moment, when you were in the Austin House, that was kind of the hopeless moment?
Yeah, at first it was hopeless. But I used it to my advantage. I'm the type of person, I kind of use things. If I'm in a situation, I try to use it to my advantage to get where I need to be. So like I said, they help you save money. So I saved money. I was able to do a couple of things that I needed to do to where when I moved out the Austin House, I moved into an actual house on East 37.
Okay.
So it prepared me to where I need to be at.
You got used to winning. You got used to that feeling of accomplished and winning and going from one level to the next.
Sometimes they tell you that sometimes if you can't endure the downtime, sometimes you got to be thankful for certain times in your life. You may not understand it, but I needed to go through those times. That's what made me be able to handle the things I can handle today as a single parent. I can handle my bills by myself. Getting better at money management. But that's what took me through there because you're going to think and say, hey, I don't want to go live in a shelter. So what do I need to do? I know I need to save money if times get hard because I don't want to go live in a shelter. Especially if you don't have any family or friends that you can go and live with.
That you can go live with.
And even if you do,
you don't
that's
want
not
to.
going to be but for so long.
Yeah, you don't want to.
Exactly. So, everything in your life that you go through prepares you for something greater. And you have to understand that Now, if you go through these things and you don't understand why, then you're going to continue to go through them because you're not learning anything from it. But mine's prepared me for something greater. So even though I lived in a shelter, even though I lived in Fred Wessel, even though I did this, some people may know me and say, oh, well, she used to do that. I did, but
growth.
That was the past.
Yeah, you evolve. You're not supposed
Exactly.
to remain the same person that you were 5 or 10 years ago. You evolve and you grow. It will be a problem if you still the same person 10 years later.
Exactly.
What advice would you give to your 16-year-old self?
Believe in you like you. That's what I give to my 17-year-old son. Believe in yourself. I could believe in you all day, but if you don't believe in yourself, then what does it matter?
Mm-hmm.
You know, so push through your obstacles. If you believe you can do anything that you want to do, train your mind to think good things and give yourself a chance.
Okay. What advice would you give to someone who's watching that's kind of in one of the phases of your life of the past, whether it be shelter, whether it be a teenage parent, whether it be a high school dropout, whether it be a person who's in fear of going back to school to get their GED? What advice would you give that person?
All of that is temporary. It's temporary. So that means that it will only last as long as you let it last. Always find someone you're going to, if you can find someone that is above you, someone that you look up to, a good mentor, someone that will lead you in the right way. Because also, I had to position myself around certain people to get where I am. I had a friend who owned a furniture store when I actually was starting my business, and I was working for her for a little while.
Mm-hmm.
Because like I said, she let me come to work at 9. She let me get off to go get my kids. And if I needed to stay later, she let me bring my kids too.
Okay.
But during the time I was working with her, she also helped me make my flyers for my business, telling me this is what you need to do. Telling me, well, come up with your slogan. What is your special going to be? You have to have like-minded people that's already where you want to be.
Yes.
In order to get where you want to be. If you still hanging with people that think that opening a business is scary, who think that investing is scary, or I'm not about to invest this, because you have to invest in yourself. You don't need to hang around those people because you're going to be scared to invest in yourself.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, I really like that answer. I really felt like you was literally talking to someone who was watching you. Even though this is going to be forthcoming later, they're going to watch it later. But I really like the advice that you gave that person, whether it be male or female. That advice was definitely universal. Tell us about your coaching.
I have a coaching business along with my cleaning business. So most people know I started my business from the ground up. I started my business, it was solely just with me. You might can get a 3,000 square foot house clean for $70. So I started from the ground up.
You was really inexpensive when you first started.
I was very inexpensive. I was trying to make my way. Like I said, God do things for a reason. I was living in Westlake, so I only, I didn't need like $5,000 to live.
Mm-hmm.
So I was inexpensive, but I also was gaining my clientele, and I also was proving myself.
You was getting your foot in the door.
Exactly. So it all worked out. But for the business, I started for the coaching. So with the business, I started young, and I started cheap. So I worked my way up. I went to school as far as, like I said, I have a master's in business management with the concentration in human resource. So I'm knowledgeable in every area. A lot of people want to go out and get franchises, and there's nothing wrong with that. But to be honest, you don't have to invest $5,000 or $6,000 to make $5,000 or $6,000 a month. You really don't. So the best thing that I can tell you is, I'm a cleaner coach. If you want to start a business and if you want to make a lucrative amount of money, and if you are willing to do what's asked of you, contact me. And I definitely can help you build yourself up to where you need to be.
Okay, how can you be reached?
I can be reached at 912-428-9655. I also can be reached on Facebook at Cleaning Essentials LLC. And I also can be reached at email by cleaning_essentials@yahoo.com.
Well, thank you so much, Miss Tollany. It was a
you so
pleasure
much.
of having you. You did such an awesome job. I just want to say, I just wish and pray for nothing but good things for you from this point forward. You did an awesome job.